Right now, somewhere on your phone or computer, there's a list of things you need to do, and you haven't done them. Maybe before you landed here, you were off doing something entirely random, anything but those tasks. Here's the weird part. It's not because you're lazy, not even close. And honestly, in the next few minutes, I'm going to prove it to you, thanks to some hard neuroscience. First, let me tell you about this little phrase, just 2 words, that neuroscientists stumbled upon by accident. It makes starting pretty much anything feel almost effortless. I'll save it for the end, and once you hear it, starting might not be such a battle for you again. Stick with me here. Because what's actually happening in your brain when you procrastinate isn't what you think, and understanding this, that changes everything. Let's rewind to 2007. A team of neuroscientists at the University of Michigan put chronic procrastinators into brain scanners and handed them simple tasks. The results blew them away. When the procrastinators just looked at the task, their brains lit up in the same region that fires when you face a real threat, like a predator, a weapon, genuine danger. Their brains were treating a to-do like a lion jumping out of the bushes. Just let that sink in. So you're not dodging these tasks because you're lazy. You're dodging them because your brain has tagged them as actual threats. It's just trying to protect you. That's not a flaw in your character. It's your brain's survival system running outdated software. It gets even more interesting, though. Not every brain does this to the same degree. The difference comes down to something called the amygdala. It's the part of your brain that's on high alert for any kind of threat. Old, fast, single-minded. People who procrastinate a lot, their amygdalas are bigger and jumpier than those of non-procrastinators. Researchers in Germany confirmed it in 2018 after scanning over 250 brains. Bottom line, for some people, procrastination isn't even a real choice. Their brain is literally built to spot more threats and react more intensely than most. So you weren't born lazy. You just have a threat detector turned to max sensitivity. Now here's the piece almost nobody brings up. The folks with the largest, most reactive amygdalas also had weak connections between that region and another part, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. That's the part that takes our intentions and turns them into action. In plain language, their brain shouts danger, but the region that's supposed to say, yes, but let's do it anyway, isn't loud enough. The message doesn't make it through. Here's the game changer. You can't shrink your amygdala, but those intention-to-action connections, you can strengthen them. Science has ways to do this. Before we go there, though, let's talk about a lie you've probably told yourself. Motivation comes before action. If you've ever thought, I'll start when I feel motivated, you've bought into this. The truth, your brain doesn't generate motivation before you start something. It produces it after you begin. We've known this since 1927, thanks to Soviet psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik. She found the brain keeps unfinished tasks in active tension. Once you start, your brain registers the task as unfinished business and gives you a little neurological tug to finish it. That tug is motivation, and it shows up only after you begin. Waiting to feel motivated before you start is like waiting to feel warm without turning on the heat. Warmth comes after you act, never before. And this is a big one, knowing all that doesn't fully solve it, because that feeling of threat kicks in way before your rational brain gets a word in. Before you remember that motivation comes later, your limbic system has already handed you your phone to scroll. So you need a new strategy. This is where it gets cool. Psychologist Peter Gawitzer spent years researching why people don't follow through on their plans. He found a trick that doubled, sometimes tripled, people's success rates. He called it implementation intentions. Sounds complicated, but it really isn't. Instead of vaguely saying, I'll work on my project, you get specific. I'll work on my project at 4 p.m. at my kitchen table for 25 minutes. When, where's, how long? That's it. Studies show that stacking these 3 specifics makes you 2 to 3 times more likely to do the thing, not because of willpower or some magical motivation, but because your environment triggers the behavior automatically. You just show up at 4 p.m., sit at your kitchen table, and it's go time. No threat calculation, decision already made. You've hacked your own amygdala. But there's something even more powerful, and barely anybody talks about it. It sounds too simple to matter. Self-compassion. Not another app, not an iron will, not motivation, just being kind to yourself. In 2010, researchers Michael Inslicht and Kristen Neff ran a study. 2 groups of students all procrastinated on an exam. One group got told, be kind to yourself about it. The other didn't. Then both groups got a new task. The self-compassion group, they procrastinated way less the second time. The guilt-ridden, self-blaming group, they procrastinated even more. That's because guilt slaps another layer of threat onto the task. Now it's not just hard or annoying, it's also tangled up with shame and self-criticism. Your amygdala cranks up, and avoidance gets even stronger. Every single time you call yourself lazy for procrastinating, you're making the next thing even harder to start. Forgiving yourself isn't letting yourself off the hook. It just removes the extra weight, making it impossible to move. All right, here it is, the two-word phrase neuroscientists swear by. Andrew Huberman and the Stanford crew found that one of the best ways to override your brain's threat response, right at the starting line, is to reframe your self-talk. Instead of saying, I have to, swap it for I get to. I have to write this essay becomes, I get to write this essay. I have to go to the gym becomes, I get to go to the gym. It sounds ridiculously simple, but your brain notices the difference. Have to rings the alarm bells. Get to lights up reward and free choice centers. Same task, completely different brain response. It's just two words. You aren't lazy, never were. Your brain is just running a really old security system in a world that's changed massively. But now you see what's on the dashboard. You know why motivation isn't the answer. You know the strategies that actually help. Next time you're avoiding something, don't call yourself lazy. Say, I get to do this. Pick a time, pick a place, set your clock for however long. And start. Because your brain doesn't resist the middle, it doesn't resist the end, it only freaks out at the start. Now you know how to get yourself across that line.